ladies and gentlemen, we are finally at the last episode of the ARK Genesis Extra Life live stream. So I'm going to play the clip real quick before we go into the stuff, before I start talking about it. We're going to play what the developers are talking about, and then we'll probably spend a good 5 minutes talking about what I think about the Extra Life and how the ARK Genesis stuff, like, this is a really good DLC. And this is not even half the stuff we've even seen. There's so much more that they are hinting at that we'll be able to be getting this expansion, this DLC. So it's very, very cool. So anyways, well, I'm gonna let the developers talk it out real quick, and then we'll talk about it at the end.
Afterwards, let's go ahead and check it out. Yeah, that right there is our lunar biome.
What do you guys think?
You know, this is such a great environment. It's probably the craziest biome we've ever done in ARK because it doesn't just look awesome, but we totally changed the physics and the gravity in the lunar biome. It's like you're bouncing around when you jump. When you're running, you're like got a little extra bounce in your step. There's all sorts of hazards and environmental things related to the low gravity. And all of the stuff in the environment is really made for this biome, including these things here, which is the Astrocetus, is our space whale, for if you want to give it a fun common name there. These things are pretty awesome as well. I'll let Zane talk a little bit about the gameplay stuff. But the team's really excited about the lunar biome. It's just one of the cool biomes. You saw the new bog earlier on Extra Life with the Bloodstalker in it. Just like the bog, it's such a cool new place to play in the game. And we've really tried to pull out all the stops for the environments here in Genesis, as you can hopefully tell from this crazy psychedelic lunar biome. It's orbiting a strange planet. As the day cycle goes on, you're on this sort of broken moon that's like orbiting around the planet. It's got rings, there's galaxies in the background, and this crazy awesome fog, this sort of like this element fog that's kind of just roaming around, and this gaseous stuff that's there. And it's such a cool environment. What else can you tell us about it, Zane?
It's well, sorry, let me get my mic on. It's definitely hazardous. It's a challenge to be there. It's very fun with the low gravity just by itself. All the bouncing around that you can do, jumping to much higher places. There will also be oxygen vents to help supplement your breathing. It does have an atmosphere. It's just a much lower atmosphere, so your oxygen will slowly drain over time. And there will be these oxygen vents that you can use to either get oxygen or actually launch yourself around.
Yep.
To get to much higher or further places.
What about the sunlight and the day-night stuff?
So, and that's the catch. As you're traveling around and as the sun is rotating around this conglomerate of rocks that you're inhabiting, you don't have a thick enough atmosphere to actually protect you. So once that sun starts to hit you, it's just immediate night and day difference. You start to roast. You start to just take immediate effects from it.
So it's a little bit like aberration, but maybe not as extreme.
Well, and it actually matches the sun.
Yeah.
We're fully going into it, and it's perfect. If you find a rock with a little place to hide under, you'll be safe. So suddenly those big pyres in the terrain are super helpful because they help you navigate around the sun and stay safe.
So if you see some shadows and you get in the shadows, you're going to be
totally
protected from that. Yeah. Or if you're running without shadows, I guess, if you can see the sun or not.
So that's going to be a little difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's probably, you know, if the sun's blocked by a rock, you're probably safe, even if you have shadows turned off.
Yeah, exactly. So for those of our illustrious players that love SM4 with no shadows and the lowest quality possible, the lunar biome, they'll still know where the hazard's at by looking for the sun, but they will have to look for the sun and make sure it's blocked.
Yeah.
Everyone else will be able to see the shadows and know exactly where it's coming from, and it will be very clear, night and day. If you're in the shadows, you're safe. If you're in the sunlight, it's a little dangerous. And it
Totally.
gets pretty fun jumping from rock to rock every now and then. That sunlight's coming straight from below.
Yeah.
So as you're jumping across, you're taking a little bit of damage, and you're just like, oh, I hope
It's
I can
burning
make it.
the bottoms of your feet as
Exactly.
you're jumping. Ouch!
Yeah.
Ow. Speaking of jumping on top of things, tell us a little bit more about this Astrocetus. Pretty sure they can have a little bit of fun jumping from creature to creature, right?
Oh yeah, these guys are amazing. Being an Astrocetus, a space whale of sorts, they have a lot of magical abilities. Their main one being that they have a teleport, a hyperdrive of sorts. And what that does is anything within their close range or their immediate vicinity will actually be pulled into this bubble and blinked into their target destination as a group or as a fleet.
And you can control that when you tame these creatures, right?
Yes. Once you get through the taming process, which is not going to be an easy feat. These things are definitely an alpha tame. They're a top tier tame, so they're going to be a very difficult thing to get, and they're going to be a limited thing to get. We don't want everyone having 1,000 of these. They are going to be very, very, very capable.
I still imagine like about 4 or 5 of these blinking in like Star Destroyers coming in to like
Yes.
mess with somebody.
Well, and then once they get there, what are they going to be bringing? What is a Astrocetus really going to be doing? And in all honesty, their travel abilities are really all they're good at in combat. They have a great bite. They have an awesome tail whip, which looks beautiful, but compared to other dinos, that's not much. But they do make up with their saddle, which is next tier of any saddle we've ever done, because this saddle comes equipped with three ball turrets.
So it's like a World War II bomber or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can not only bring your fleet in with you, but you also come equipped with gun turrets to just pummel the enemy or whoever's coming after you.
Or like the Millennium Falcon or something.
Yes, or like
Nice.
the Millennium
Get on
Falcon.
the gunner. Yeah.
That's
Yes.
cool. But what if they're not tamed in the environment? I think you can jump on them and they're kind of docile, aren't they? Unless you kind of provoke them.
Yeah, they won't mess with you, and they'll leave you alone. If you do provoke them, they will definitely try to push you out, and they don't like being stuck in one place.
Yeah.
They're very difficult to get locked down, and part of that taming process is a very involved tame, and if you try to game it, it's not going to work out well for you. They can blink out of existence.
Indeed. So what else we got in the lunar biome? We got any fun missions or any like fun little cool things that happen there?
It's funny you say that. We haven't said anything about missions.
This whole time.
We've
well,
kept
now's as good as time as
missions
any to talk
completely
about
under
a
wraps.
little bit of missions.
So
we did our best. We did real well.
well, there was one guy that was just consistently asking, and I
Yeah,
wanted to say
yeah.
something, but it wasn't on the schedule, and I don't want to break.
Well, you know what? We don't have to talk a lot about missions because we do want to kind of have a more fun reveal of that later.
Oh,
And
yeah.
The missions are super cool. There's a lot of like really fun, both action-packed but also exploratory and relaxing. There's like a wide variety of mission types. But let's talk about one right now that's just a little bit of a silly fun mission that we decided to throw in. And what is it, Zane?
So we're gonna have dodo basketball, or in space
On the moon?
we're gonna have bulldog basketball.
Nice. So it's
Because
like
that's the best basketball.
so it's like Space Jam and the moon.
On the moon.
Low gravity basketball as a mission.
Low gravity made this actually a really difficult thing to do, because initially we started off with normal values, and low gravity works really well. Projectiles
Yep.
go a lot further with a lot less force. So whenever I first started this mission, we'd already built it out for a different place.
That's pretty cool.
Well,
well,
and
we'll
we
look
started
forward
converting
to
to low grav. It was just launching the poor thing into space. I felt so
I can
bad.
imagine there's probably so many things on Lunar with the low gravity that have been like.
Oh, it's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, and I've played it a fair bit, and not only is it fun, but sometimes it's super disorienting. Like when
Yes.
when you're doing a little bit too much and you get kind of like the low gravity spins going on. How's
So
that trigger?
every time you've seen any spacewalk or anything like that, there's always a little bit of difficulty of staying oriented.
Yeah.
And the higher you go up, the easier it is for your character to get a little off track, or if you've been bumped a little bit, or if you're in a fight, it's going to be a lot more common. And you'll start to lose your orientation and shift on all 6 degrees of your axis. It'll be limited, so it's not so disorienting that it's nauseating, but you will be able to rotate around, and you'll be able to control that too.
Yeah.
But going along with just the amount of distance you can jump, it gets quite exciting and fun to just try to platform around under the entirely new rule set of low gravity.
It's pretty awesome. Well, cool. Anything else top of mind for this creature in this biome we want to hit on before we...
Well, we talked about the gunner turrets, and it has something else, because obviously the rider would be probably bored
Yeah.
while all of his friends are doing all the fun stuff. So it also has its saddle that will convert its energy that it gains, its natural space energy, into bombs. And then those will be what the rider can control and drop from its bomber mode. So you can teleport in, drop bombs, covered on your way out, and then if the teleport recharges in time, which it's not going to be a quick recharge, but if that engagement you've survived, you're able to teleport back out. But that'll take quite a while. That's going to be a difficult one. Very careful where you teleport this guy into. Because you could show up into a lot of things that you didn't see before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Got to scout the area out. It's
Yeah.
just like light speed.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't know where you're going, it could turn out real bad. They
How
almost
many-
ran into Alderaan.
Creatures you might want to bring in that are particularly helpful?
It's going to be a very, very, very unique biome. Being that it's a low gravity, low atmosphere environment, the creatures that can survive there are going to be very unique creatures. A lot of them we've seen in Aberration because they grew on a planet that was or an ARK that was destroyed and was toxic in a hostile environment. So Reapers would be a common thing. Our favorite Pterotoothuses are definitely going to show up. I like to think of them as the Minoc of the Lunar biome, but I'm just a nerd. And then of course we'll have quite a few of the bionic dinos there to supplement the environment and also create a challenge. It's not going to be a low-level experience. This is definitely the higher end, very, very, very challenging environment. But if you can survive here, it's very rewarding. And of course the resources are going to be absolutely top tier. Like, this is a place that you want to be able to get to.
What kind of stuff is going to be available to us there?
Everything.
Everything?
And everything at top tier. Definitely the elements in inachievable amounts. Metal for sure is going to be in abundance. These are places that you want to go to get those materials that are your final in-game crafting. And this will be a place that you can just one-stop shop it, but it'll be difficult to be there, and you have to pay attention to what's going on around you. Because as that sun comes around, there's also a meteor storm that will be following along.
Got some hazards.
There's a couple hazards. Low gravity alone is a hazard in itself because you have to watch out what you're doing. But on top of that, you're floating through a ring system of planets, and as you go through that, it brings a lot of meteors with it.
That's cool.
And that's changing its direction as you're orbiting around the planet that you're orbiting around.
How deadly are the meteors? Or are they just kind of annoying?
They're not nice meteors.
Yeah.
They're moving pretty fast. The surface is not a great place to live, and this is a place to go and farm and harvest, and we're going to use a lot of it for missions.
Cool.
Because it's a great challenging place.
Some people were wondering about breathing. So how does that work, really?
So it's similar to being in underwater. It's just a much slower degradation of your oxygen rate. If you have anything like a scuba tank or a full tech suit, anything that gives you oxygen, that will still work there. Or if you see an oxygen vent, you can go to that and you'll get refreshed on your oxygen and refilled from those. And you can either get launched or, you know, stay off to the side.
So you'll find little oxygen vents around, and even though you're losing oxygen if you're not in those vents, it's much slower than like being underwater or something.
Yes.
So it's not quite as punishing on the oxygen side of things.
Absolutely. And our players are very well versed in this with their underwater play that they have done. Just a few points in oxygen stats and you're already getting multiplied levels of how long you can stay in somewhere in a low oxygen or no oxygen environment. And that'll be the same here. You know, people will benefit from having a well-statted character.
Yeah.
Fortitude will be a huge thing now. These biomes are very extreme. They reach the top and low ends of everything. So everything you can do to well-round your character is going to be important.
Alrighty, so welcome back. So there was a lot of information there, and I kind of want to break it down real quickly and give my kind of thoughts about everything about this and all this stuff. But the first thing we need to talk about is the damn whale. This whale is very cool. So it's some sort of flying whale that you can have a mount of a bunch of turrets, and also you can drop bombs. It's a very interesting and cool mount, and then also has a bomb, like a bunch of like a bomb launcher thing that shoots bombs out and everything, and it has a blink kind of ability, so like you can blink in and out of combat and stuff. It's very cool and interesting on these creatures. These creatures right here that they've been showing for Genesis are very unique and different, and I'm quite interested in them. And also this whole, so we're gaining, I think, 4 or 5 different biomes. We have the moon, we have the bog, we have the water, the volcano, and we also have a snow biome because we've seen plenty of damn snow. So we have like 5 biomes in this map of some sort. Now, it's still not clear how this is all going to work because, as we know, as Helen, she says something, Helen, whatever, the stupid robot thing that flies around and calls you out on your poops. They talk about simulation. So is this going to be something like a I don't know how to even explain it. Like how is this even gonna, how are all of these going to be combining into one map? That is the biggest question I have so far about Genesis right now. Is like, how are we getting all these biomes? Are we like teleporting to each and every different zone? Like, is this like one big map? Like, what is happening? I don't know. It's very interesting. It's very cool. Lots of questions on that, but let's talk about the moon. So the moon looks phenomenal. So we are going to be getting aberrant creatures on Genesis. So I know a lot of people were very disappointed about Extinction, that there was no aberration creatures, which there should have been. And if you're someone like me, you know how to I code, you just put them on in, and there you go. They just feel welcomed in, and they work on the map. So it's very interesting and weird. Well, it's not weird, but it's nice that they're actually bringing some of those creatures, because they said there's going to be surface reapers, there's going to be those the stupid bat things. I can't remember the seekers. That's what they're called. The seekers are going to be on there as well. Hell, we don't even know what other creatures are probably going to bring. The Ravager, maybe the crab. I mean, there's a lot of, oh man, it's crazy that they're going to be bringing all those to this map and stuff. So that means, for all those kind of creatures, that has to be a very big moon area, right? So we've had the asteroid, right, kind of feel, right, when we had aberration, right? We had the upper area with the no atmosphere and everything, but it was kind of very bad because you couldn't build there and you couldn't live there. It was mostly like, you go there for resources, then you come back out, and then that's it. You know, a lot of people were disappointed that you can't live there, so I'm wondering if you'll be able to live in this new biome and stuff. But they also did talk about the quests and the these achievement things, right? So we're going to be getting some sort of challenges and quests to go to different biomes, and they said this one is a big one that you'll be going there to do things. Now, if you think about it, I wonder how this is all going to be played, because right now the ARK mobile app does a lot of this stuff right now. Is that they have, if you hit a tree, you get some wood, you get an achievement, you get some rubies or whatever the heck it's called for their currency, right? So I'm wondering if they're going to bring that kind of elemental into play now with Genesis with this, but it seems like the moon is going to be one of the harder areas to live and play in, as they said definitely it's going to be a challenge area. Also, they said a quest about dodo basketball, like space ball, like we're getting space basketball or something, like man, oh man, it looks like Wildcard has finally realized that to make a good game, you must have fun in that game. And they're putting a lot of effort into that, and I think they've realized that. So hopefully they'll be able to, you know, look at that. Like, if Genesis is very successful, I wonder if they'll take a look at that throughout the rest of the game and fix a bunch of things. Like Scorched Earth needs a complete TLC. Everything in Scorched Earth needs TLC. All the wyverns, all the creatures, everything about that. Even the Ascension. I mean, we want that a whole TLC thing, you know, for Scorched Earth, you know. And obviously the island needs a big update. You know, there's a lot of stuff on the island that's still, I mean, the island is beautiful and gorgeous, but it could be so much better, you know what I mean? So I don't know, there's a lot of things that I'm hoping Wildcard will realize and learn after making Genesis, because it seems like they're putting their heart and soul. I mean, Aberration was kind of a letdown. Extinction was actually really good, but also a lot of people didn't like it, and the developers felt like they just rushed it. You know, and Genesis, they feel like they're actually putting their heart and soul into it, because there's so much, like, the passion that they were talking about with Zane and Cedric and stuff, that they care. I mean, Cedric's kind of always meh about everything, so I don't know how excited he is, but Zane just being super excited and happy about this, and I mean, I wouldn't blame him. I mean, this shit is amazing. So I don't know, I'm super excited about for Genesis, and I'm kind of curious about what you guys think in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the videos, make sure you like, subscribe, follow. I'll be continuing the community crunch and also the cryptid helmets, the cryptid set, and all the other stuff. And when Genesis comes around, I'll be working my butt off to be a video for every new thing, just like in Extinction. Pure content that was 100% accurate, and honestly no one else had that until a day or two later. So I'll get you guys early access to everything, just like I did last time. Not early access, but you know, everything done early because I worked my butt off. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this amazing videos. I'll put on the top right once again of all that. And if you guys enjoyed the videos, make sure you like, subscribe, follow. Please like the video and share the crap out of this stuff, so it helps the channel grow and helps me out. And yes, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys on the damn next one. Take care and have a good one.